Hello everyone. Today we have Puls, Microsoft Excel MVP for I think more than 10 years now. From Canada, he's based in British Columbia, somewhere around Vancouver. I don't know exactly where, he will mention it. And he's now in Ignite, on the floor of Ignite, and we will talk a lot about Power Query today. Hey Ken, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? So yeah, I'm actually from Nanaimo, which is on Vancouver Island, just outside of Vancouver in British Columbia, and I am literally on the floor at Ignite right now. You can probably hear all the background noise, and if I were to sort of lift up here, you can see how big this place is around here. It's
nice.
It's hopping busy, a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, so glad to be here.
Great, and you have sessions in Ignite as well.
Yeah, I'm actually done my speaking tour for right now, which is nice. But I was part of a Excel Data Ninja Community Theater session I hosted with Annie Colonna from the Excel team, and I got to show off some cool calendar table tricks and making a full anti-join in Power Query. And then I was also on stage yesterday with members of the Excel and Power BI team, basically doing an Excel and Power BI better together story to show how those products integrate and can really add value if you're actually using both of them along with teams in a full scale environment, which was great for separating user roles and mashing up data and reporting. It was awesome. Really enjoyed it.
That's great. So talking about Excel and Power BI, and you are coming from the background of Excel, and you teach Excel, Power BI, Power Query to a lot of people, and you have a lot of clients in that area. What is your feeling of customers coming from Excel adopting Power BI? What are, let's say, their challenges, maybe?
Boy, I mean, the challenge usually is getting access to the data in the first place. That's always the big one. And then when they finally get access to data, it's what's a nice way to say it, nasty. Usually garbage that they're trying to deal with. So a lot of the clients that I deal with that come to me because I'm an expert in this area is all about data cleanup and trying to find out ways to speed up that process and number one, make it happen and take really ugly data and convert it into a nice tabular format, and then how to make it a little bit faster or how to actually, get it laid out properly for dimensional modeling and whatnot. So the main challenge you see is around that. After that, it's really about, exploring the different options that they have for converting things in different ways and working through the user interface. I find Power Query is really intuitive in a lot of cases, but it's like everything. It's one of those technologies that's really intuitive when you've got a certain amount of background and you know how. So you got to get over that first little hurdle. But after that, it's amazing, right? So
correct, yes. So talking about Power Query and these new exciting announcement like data profiling feature, which is coming hopefully, how do you think that can help Power BI users?
Wow, you know what? I think that's really cool. I actually went to a session this morning where we were looking at data profiling and some of the stuff, and they're saying, yeah, it's coming soon. It's in development, and it's really cool to be able to look at that, where you get a nice little preview window that actually shows you a nice little chart to show you how many unique values you have in your column, or how many distinct values you have, and what's the granularity that you're playing with. And one of the questions I asked there is, when we see this little chart that you're showing me about the quality of my data, can I click on that and apply a filter so I can just drill down and see what it is? And they said, yeah, you can do that. This is going to make it a lot easier, I think, for people when they're actually connecting to that data to get a good look at how good it is, because that's always one of the big questions is, especially if you're pulling from a non-structured source like text files or Excel files, what has somebody put in there? Have you got a user that's putting their dates in the wrong format? They've gone day, month, year, and the data source is month, day, year, and things like that. So it'll help give a really good look at what you're dealing with and start answering some of the questions around data quality that you have on your hands, how much cleanup it really needs. And that's kind of been I don't know, it's almost been a black magic technique along the way so far. You really got to do a lot of digging. This is really going to help, I think, make that a lot more surface a lot more rapidly as to what's there. So I'm really excited about seeing that come and hit Power BI, and then I think the general gist is a couple of months after it hits general availability, so once it's out of preview in Power BI, then they'll bring that to Excel as well, which is super exciting for analysts, no matter what software you're using.
Correct. I like the data quality part that you mentioned especially as well, because lots of work that we do with data, the data is not coming in great quality. So this data profiling will help us to find out, for example, wow, we have that many null in this column. We have this many, let's say, incorrect values, things like that, which is great.
Absolutely.
Another challenge of users when they are working with Power BI, especially those users that are coming from a background that that haven't worked with, let's say, programming languages, things like that, is to automate the process. And Flow is an application that automates the process, kind of. Now we have a Power Query announcement in Flow. What is your feeling about that? Can you hear me?
Man, so I haven't actually played with Flow a lot in the past. I tried to get started with it when it was first in previews, and I think my challenge is always that I always try and bite off the most difficult thing I can possibly do for documenting, right? So I actually went to sessions which got Flow, and then the big announcement said, hey, what? Flow is going to be right inside Excel. Flow is going to allow us to have Power Query right inside Flow. So you can connect to a data source and go into a web-based version of Power Query and automate that so that if records change or on a specific schedule, you need to go and run it through Power Query and then land it out to somewhere. I mean, how awesome is that? But, you know, right now it's only for pulling data from SQL Server and pushing it to other places. I'm really going to be excited when we can actually say, you know what, connect to my SharePoint Office 365, folder, grab all the Excel files that are in there and mash that up and spit it over to SQL Server. Wow, like that's going to add a whole new dimension, because now we'll be able to actually clean up and load data that's being, connected in a or stored in not a good format, and start building that data warehouse that we need. That's huge. I mean, we can now start taking end user BI developers and actually have them become the people that architect the flows that get the data cleaned the way they need it and sticking it into different locations. And if you can get them working with IT, I think we're going to have a really strong way to actually go and build good solutions to make everybody happy, which is going to be fantastic.
Correct. Especially like this morning, I talked with Matt Mason about like Power Query, and he mentioned that Power Query is like the data flow in SSIS. We don't have the control flow yet. Now Microsoft Flow is like the control flow, and when we have control flow combined with data flow, it's like the whole ETL scenario.
Well, yeah,
which we can
then you run into this whole other software of data flows, which is using a web-based version of Power Query in the cloud to go and pick up your data no matter where it lives. And I believe that actually, when it hits preview, I'm still waiting to get my hands on the preview for that. I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah,
but that will actually allow you to transform it and land it into a data lake in between that and Power BI. So now you can really start building this sitting on top of the data lake, Azure Data Lake technology. You can actually start building your entire data warehouse, starting with, text files over here and Excel files over here, and maybe an API call to another third-party vendor over here. I can't wait to get my hands on this. This is going to be game-changing. I mean, it's going to be game-changing for my little organization as well as my clients. I think it's going to be huge. So, I think the big key message that I'm sort of getting from Microsoft on this, though, is that Power Query is a data transformation tool, and they want it everywhere. So this is super awesome for people who work with Power Query in Power BI or in Excel, because when you learn that tool once, it's going to be portable to so many different technologies. So you're actually increasing the value of your own skill set, as well as building, the BI solutions that you actually need in your own organization. This is huge. I mean, this is a big time for us as data analysts, I think, out there in the world.
Great. Thank you for that explanation. With other announcement, which announcement in Power BI you liked? Not particularly about Power Query, but let's say any announcement that you really liked in Power BI in recent months.
I'm just trying to think. Is there anything other than Power Query, really? I mean, let's see. No, you know what? I mean, I like a lot of the stuff that's doing. I'm loving the rapid pace iteration of what's going on. I'm loving the integration of Excel with Power BI. I'm liking the fact that we can separate things with teams, and just the general ecosystem that's being built is amazing. If I was looking specifically at components for what I'm seeing in Power BI right now that's exciting, I mean, they are Power Query based. I'm going to be honest. I mean, the ability to extract data from PDFs is huge. That's something we've been asking for a long time. They're working on, different pieces that I don't think I talked about that are exciting. It's interesting to see how rapidly things are developing and how much they're going to be useful, adding on to what we already have. I mean, that data ability to reuse it, I think that's probably one of the most exciting pieces. It's bigger than Power Query, but obviously relies on it. But that ability to create that data warehouse, I think, is probably one of the most fundamental things that we need to get right in today's business intelligence world. So that's huge. Absolutely huge.
Great. Thank you for that. So for you as an expert in this field, you mentioned that it's changing constantly and fast. Every month we have updates in Power BI, Power Query. How you keep yourself updated? Considering all the time that you spend, considering all the time that you spend doing consulting and training, so how do you keep yourself updated?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I mean, things are changing really rapidly, and it's great when when I've got a week of Slack time where I'm not working on a client project, and I'm in there and I'm reading blogs and I'm testing and playing around with the software and whatnot. But then you'll go into a stint where we're running for a month and a half solid, heads down, trying to get client projects, and I come up for air after that. And I think it's like everybody. It's like, oh no, we've had 2 months of updates came in the time that I was heads down. I feel like I'm so far behind the curve, and it's challenging. But the only thing you can do is keep reading the blogs and keep reading tweets and watching the videos on PowerBI.com that come out and seeing what's going on is the only way that I can keep up with it. I mean, I rely on a few different experts that are out there for different pieces. I'm watching their blogs and seeing what's happening. And, at the end of the day, that's the best sort of avenue that I have. I mean, I'm lucky enough to be plugged into Microsoft, so I get some heads ups from that as well. But, outside of that, I think it's the community really that is the one that I lean on the most to see what's happening. So, because I know when I'm not working on something, Matt Allington, Chris Webb, Rob Cully, I mean, these guys are. So, I mean, I'm jumping on their stuff, and you are as well. I mean, putting out so much stuff. So I know when I'm sleeping, somebody else is writing, which is great. So.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you for your time. How people can find you? You are doing like training, consulting, conferences all around. What is the best place for people to find you?
I'm everywhere. You know what? The best place for people to find me is actually to sign up for my newsletter. If you go to excelguru.ca /newsletter, you can sign up for my newsletter there. If you're looking for Power Query specific stuff, you can find me at powerquery.training. There's no .com on that. That's the domain, powerquery.training. But I say if you're looking to find me specifically, go to excelguru.ca, sign up for my newsletter. We blast out a regular monthly email on what's going on and where I am, no matter where in the world I'm going to be or what courses I'm teaching. It all comes through there. So that's probably the best place to locate me if you're trying to track me down.
Awesome. And you are coming to Definity in New Zealand in February as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, I am. That's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be doing a pre-con there as well, teaching people how to use Power Query with Power BI. That's going to be awesome. So if you're going to be there and you want to learn how to really master your data, you got to check this out. Like, there's no better tool. And by the time we get there, Data Flows is going to be hopefully a couple of 2, 3, I don't know how many months into preview. So hopefully we got an even bigger story about how we can land data somewhere else. Which if that happens, that's totally going to be added to material. I'm really looking forward to that. So.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Ken, for your time. It was a pleasure to talk with you in your busy schedule, I know. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your Ignite.
Absolutely, Reza. Thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you when I get down to New Zealand there.
Sure. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. All right, cheers.